Hello everyone, welcome to Hopeful Moments 1. Today, we're going to hear the story about the frustration and unreasonable attitude of Karen, while the man stays calm and tries to resolve the situation politely. This story also reflects common behaviors we encounter in public situations, where some people may overreact or misunderstand others, creating unnecessary tension. Today's story will take you through an unexpected twist. Instead of continuing to explain gently, the man adopts a firm tone, stands tall, and clearly states that he just wants to grab the item and that Karen isn't an employee of the store. This reaction leaves Karen silent, stepping back, feeling defeated, unable to continue causing trouble, and it creates a surprising shift in the story. If you find this story interesting and filled with meaningful lessons, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more valuable insights. My son, nearly 2 years old, is a picky eater, which sometimes leaves my wife and me feeling helpless and exhausted in trying to find foods he likes. Mealtimes have become a daily struggle, a challenge not only for him but for us as parents, desperately trying to ensure he gets the nutritious food his growing body needs. However, every time we sit at the table, we are faced with rejection, not once, but multiple times. No matter how hard we try, choosing what we think he might enjoy, our efforts often don't bring the expected results. He often shakes his head, refusing to eat the nutritious meals we've prepared. Sometimes, he'll take only a few bites before quitting and looking at us as if saying, "No, I don't want to eat anymore." These moments can be truly exhausting for both my wife and me, and sometimes we don't know what to do to ensure he eats well and stays healthy. During those times, I look at my wife and sigh, feeling like we're running in circles with no way out. However, amidst these challenges and what sometimes feels like hopelessness, there's always one food I can count on to bring a smile to his face: heart-shaped blueberry rice cakes. These small, fragrant cakes with a subtle blueberry flavor have become our lifeline on days when we don't know what else to do to get him to eat. Just seeing the package, and he immediately lights up, calling them puffs, eagerly waiting for a taste. Each time, my wife and I feel a sense of relief, as if a weight has been lifted. This is the one snack he will never refuse, and it always reassures us, even though the struggle of mealtime is still ahead. We often use these rice cakes as a reward whenever he accomplishes something worth praising, like using the potty successfully or putting away his toys. This isn't just about encouraging positive actions, but also teaching him independence and good habits. Every time he completes one of these tasks, we praise him and give him a rice cake as a reward, making him feel happy and proud of himself. This is how we hope to build his confidence while also creating joyful memories in his early years. But these rice cakes aren't only given as rewards. Sometimes, we offer them simply because we love him and want to make him happy. Seeing his eager eyes and big smile when he receives them fills my heart with warmth, and it strengthens the bond of love within our family. These simple moments are priceless, as they reflect the care, affection, and attention we give him. My son calls these rice cakes puffs, a cute name he gave to his favorite snack. Every time he sees the cake, he can't contain his excitement, almost repeating the word puffs with enthusiasm, as if it's the key to unlock a world full of joy and delight. This really melts my heart and fills me with happiness, knowing he's growing up in a family full of love and care. Every time he says puffs, I can't help but laugh, as it's one of the sweetest and most endearing moments I will always remember. Although these little actions and innocent words may seem trivial in the grand scheme of daily life, to me, they are priceless and full of meaning. We're not only creating beautiful memories in the journey of parenting but also nurturing a loving, close-knit family environment. Each time I see my son enjoying his rice cake, I feel an even deeper appreciation for the simple moments in life, where love and care are the most precious things we can give each other. At present, I am a man standing at 6 feet 3 inches with a muscular build and broad shoulders, physical traits that naturally create a strong impression at first glance. With my height and physique, I can't avoid drawing attention whenever I enter a room or blend into a crowd. However, this doesn't make me feel proud or boastful, rather, I feel a bit uneasy, as I know that my appearance can sometimes make others feel uncomfortable, even fearful. Despite having such a physical presence, I consider myself to be calm and easygoing. I always strive to communicate with others in a friendly manner and make friends with everyone I meet. Throughout my life, I've encountered many people and built positive relationships, and I always hope others will perceive me through my actions and character, not my appearance. I don't want anyone to feel threatened just because of my size, and I try to present myself in a way that is gentle and approachable. However, I've often heard comments that make me reflect. Many people, even those I've just met, have told me that they find me intimidating simply because of my size. These comments have caught me by surprise and sometimes even hurt, as I never intend to give off that impression. I'm fully aware of the differences between myself and those around me, and that awareness makes me more mindful of how I present myself and interact with others. Even though I don't mean to appear threatening, I understand that not everyone will see me the way I see myself. That's why I always try to control my actions and words when I'm around others. I avoid gestures that might make people feel that I'm overpowering or dominating them. I know that my presence can sometimes make others feel uncomfortable, and I don't want that to happen. Even though I may be kind and friendly, sometimes the apprehension others feel is unavoidable, simply because of my size and appearance. And no matter how hard I try, there are times when people still feel distant, a bit uneasy when I'm near, just because of the way I look. This made me become even more aware of how I appear in the eyes of others. I can't change my physical appearance, but I can change the way I interact and how I convey my message about myself. These experiences have taught me that communication is not only about words but also about how we present ourselves through actions and attitudes. And even though others might feel uneasy because of my presence, I hope that over time they will have the chance to see me more clearly and realize that I am an ordinary person with concerns and emotions just like everyone else. After a long and stressful day at work, I stopped by a large supermarket on my way home to pick up a few items that my wife had asked me to bring back. The exhaustion from the long day seemed to melt away as I entered the spacious and familiar atmosphere of the supermarket, where I could leisurely pick out the things I needed. My wife often asks me to buy daily necessities when I come home, and I always try to complete those tasks as quickly as possible so she doesn't have to worry. Today, one of the items I remembered was that we were out of puffs, the blueberry-flavored rice cakes that our son absolutely loves. This snack has become his favorite, and we often use it to reward him whenever he does something good or simply to make him happy. These rice cakes have become an essential part of his diet, and every time he sees the box, he lights up as if it were a special gift. Although my wife didn't ask me to buy puffs today, I knew we were out, and I didn't want my son to be upset without his favorite snack. So, I decided to visit the kids section where rice cakes and snacks were displayed to grab a box of puffs for him. As I walked into this section, I felt a little happiness thinking about how my son would be so excited when he got his favorite snack. I moved slowly between the aisles, looking for the familiar Puffs box with its cute little heart-shaped image, feeling comforted knowing I was doing something good for my son. Even though my wife hadn't requested it, I knew this small action would bring happiness to our family, especially our son, who would enjoy his favorite snack after a long day. Although I could just complete the task my wife had given me, I always try to create small moments, little joys in everyday life to make my family happier. The Puffs, though just a small snack, held great emotional value for me and my son. Seeing him enjoy the rice cakes with a big smile on his face made me happy and satisfied because those were simple yet warm moments in our family life. As I continued down the aisle in the supermarket, I inadvertently noticed a familiar figure standing in front of the shelf where the Puffs were, the rice cakes I was looking for. It was a woman, wearing a light gray business jacket, very neat and elegant. She stood there with a full shopping cart, seemingly having bought quite a few things, and I guessed she was on a quick shopping trip after work. However, what caught my attention was that she was holding a box of oatmeal for children, an item that was also placed nearby. She was carefully reading the back of the oatmeal box, her eyes focused as if she was trying to thoroughly check every ingredient or instruction. I stood there, about a meter away from her, staying calm and unhurried because I understood that sometimes it's necessary to carefully read labels when shopping. But what was strange was that after she placed the first oatmeal box down, she picked up another one, identical to the first in brand and type, only the size of the box differed. She continued to examine the back of the second box as though she was looking for some difference that I couldn't see. I stood there, waiting, feeling somewhat puzzled by her actions. Both oatmeal boxes seemed identical in terms of ingredients and uses, just different sizes, yet she spent time comparing them. I continued to stand and wait. Though I wasn't a person who lacked patience, I started to feel a little annoyed. Although I had no urgent need, her slowness made me wonder why she was spending so much time comparing two identical products. These thoughts made me feel uncomfortable, and I couldn't help but wonder if she realized there was someone standing right behind her who might need to reach for items on the shelf. A feeling of fatigue began to rise as I stood there, feeling like time was dragging on unnecessarily. Then suddenly, she picked up the first box again and started comparing it once more to the second one, with no change in the information. I had been standing there for quite some time, and I began to feel confused and tired from waiting so long without being able to get to the puff shelf. Questions continuously ran through my mind. Is there any difference between these two boxes, and can I quickly grab the puffs I need without bothering her? Although only 2 or 3 minutes had passed, it felt like an eternity to me. It wasn't a long time, but I just wanted to quickly finish my shopping and return home to my son. My son was waiting for me at home, and like any father, I was eager to get back to my child, especially after a long workday. The tension and restlessness inside me made it hard to stay there any longer. So, I decided to speak up, trying to ease the situation in a polite and gentle manner, even though I felt a bit annoyed about waiting so long without being able to grab what I needed. I gently said, "Excuse me, could I?" Before I could finish my sentence, she immediately interrupted. Without looking up, her eyes still fixed on the oatmeal box, she coldly replied, "I don't work here." Her words were not at all polite or understanding, but rather dismissive, as if I were a nuisance interrupting her work. I didn't feel irritated right away, just a little surprised by her reaction. I responded gently, trying to stay calm. "Right, I just need." However, my patience was quickly tested as she continued, her voice growing increasingly angry. "I told you I don't work here." This time, she looked up, her face full of anger, her attitude clearly showing no respect for me. Her sharp eyes seemed to push me away from the area immediately. I felt a bit awkward but still tried to control my emotions and explain once more, hoping to avoid escalating things. "Yes, I understand. I just need." However, she didn't listen anymore. She yelled loudly, as if trying to draw everyone's attention in the store, "Get out of here. Just because I'm a woman doesn't mean I have to help this stupid man buy stuff for kids." She shouted angrily, her expression as if I had done something wrong. I felt confused and uncomfortable, but still tried to stay calm, as I didn't want things to get worse. Finally, I couldn't hold my calm anymore. I pointed to the puff shelf and said, "Look, I just want to grab that oatmeal." My voice was still patient and calm, although the situation had started to become more tense. But she didn't stop. Instead, she yelled even louder, "Don't touch me. I told you I don't work here. Manager. I need the manager." Her words made me feel more frustrated and tired. She was clearly not just being rude but deliberately making everything more complicated, as if I were the guilty one and she was the victim in this situation. When she screamed for the manager, I felt my frustration and discomfort rise. Even though I hadn't done anything wrong, this situation had crossed the line of my patience. At that moment, I noticed a lovely elderly woman standing at the other end of the shelf, near where I was standing. I had met her several times over the past few months when shopping at this supermarket, and she always left a good impression on me as a gentle and friendly woman. She frequently smiled and had a warm, approachable way of speaking. Every time I met her, she would tell me about her grandson, whom she adored. Coincidentally, I also had the same first and middle names as her grandson, which made us feel a special connection whenever we spoke. She always made me feel warm with her simple yet loving stories about her family. I always felt listened to and shared in those brief moments, even though they weren't long conversations. So, when I saw her walking over, I didn't feel worried or tense. She knew me and would certainly recognize me as I had met her quite a few times before. Though she wasn't the manager of the supermarket, because of her age and calm demeanor, always tidying up the shelves neatly, many people often mistook her for someone in charge. So, I thought she might be the one to help in this situation if needed. I will refer to her as W, short for worker, because she was not only a dedicated worker but also a model of someone with a kind and friendly heart. As W approached, I felt a wave of calmness come over me, because I knew she would handle the situation gently and skillfully. Even though she didn't hold any high authority in the supermarket, I trusted her wisdom and ability to resolve situations, as she always had a way of easing unnecessary tensions in unexpected circumstances like this. W, is there a problem here? K, this man is harassing me. Me, size I just want. K, I don't care what you want. I won't stand for being bullied. Turns to W, I demand that you kick him out. I can't take this anymore. W, calm down, please. I want. K, don't tell me to calm down. He's the problem. Turns to me, I told you I don't work here. Damn. W, please, I can't help you if you don't calm down. Please. She raised her hand in a non-threatening manner. K, don't touch me. I'll call the company. What's your name? At this point, I had been quite uncomfortable, but honestly, I hadn't gotten truly angry until now. During those tense moments, I had tried to control my emotions, although I felt a little frustrated inside. I had worked in customer service for many years, and through that experience, I had gotten used to facing difficult situations, even being treated badly by people with strange, unreasonable attitudes. Such cases had trained me to stay calm and composed, even in the most uncomfortable situations. I understood that some people might be having a bad day or might not be able to control their emotions, so I tried not to let Karen's actions or words affect me. However, when she not only continued yelling but also threatened to report the sweet elderly woman, who had simply tried to calm the situation and help resolve the problem, I began to feel uncontrollable frustration. The elderly woman was just a kind, friendly lady who had never done anything wrong, yet Karen was ready to threaten her just because she wanted to help. The feeling of anger began to surge through my body. The elderly woman didn't deserve to be shouted at unjustly, and I couldn't let someone like Karen continue to behave so rudely. That was when I realized I couldn't stay silent any longer. The situation had crossed the line of my patience, and I knew I had to speak up, not just to protect my own rights but also to protect the respect and dignity of the elderly woman, who didn't deserve to be treated like this. In that moment, my anger truly exploded, but I still tried to remain composed to avoid making things more tense. However, I couldn't continue to tolerate it. I straightened up, a natural gesture showing my determination, and slightly leaned forward, creating an air of authority that I often unintentionally exude in tense situations. When my voice rang out, I used a slightly louder, somewhat stern tone, a voice I usually use when I see my child about to do something dangerous and need them to stop immediately. It was a commanding voice, but not one of anger. It was meant to warn and clarify things. I looked at Karen and said, "Excuse me. I just want to buy that oatmeal for my child, and your shopping cart is blocking the way. I know you don't work here. I'm not an idiot. I just want to ask if I can get through." Immediately, the expression on Karen's face changed completely. She became pale, and it seemed like she was about to lose control of her panic. I could clearly see the worry, even fear, in her eyes. It seemed she had realized she had gone too far and exposed her unreasonable side. After a brief silence, she could only move her cart back a few steps, likely to distance herself from me and the confusion she had just created. It felt like she was retreating, unsure how to handle the situation. I smiled, trying to remain as calm and friendly as possible, like a father teaching his child about patience and kindness in awkward situations. "Thank you," I said softly. Then, I walked to the shelf, grabbed the Puffs box I needed, placed it in my cart, and began heading toward the checkout. I felt relieved that I could finally finish my task without further unnecessary conflict. Before leaving the area, I turned back and said very politely, yet with sincerity, "Have a nice evening." This was something I hoped would ease the tension and close the situation gently. A few seconds of silence passed as I walked toward the checkout, and not long after, I heard W's voice from behind. She, always gentle and attentive, didn't pay attention to Karen's words but just wanted to diffuse the tense atmosphere. "Excuse me, if you need the company's phone number, I can provide it to you," W said, her voice soft but also assertive, as if she wanted to clarify that this wasn't a big issue and wasn't worth causing a scene over. Finally, through the difficult moments of parenting, I realized that every child has their own preferences and habits, and being a parent isn't always easy. Every meal becomes a challenge, but it's also an opportunity to learn patience, listen, and understand our children more. Sometimes, finding something small that your child loves, like a pack of rice cakes, can help us get through tense moments. The lesson I learned from this is never to give up on caring for our children, no matter how many difficulties we face. Every effort, even the smallest one, can bring joy and bonding within the family. And most importantly, love and patience are the keys to building a strong relationship with our children, helping them grow healthy and happy. A sincere piece of advice for parents is to be patient and understanding with your children at each stage of their development. Children can struggle to adapt to their surroundings, and raising a child is not always easy. What's important is to create a safe and loving space where they can experiment and learn without feeling pressured. Don't worry too much when things don't go according to plan. Sometimes, gentleness and persistence are the keys to helping your child grow naturally and healthily. Remember, the love and presence you offer are the most important things you can give your children.